All right, guys, back here live on the 88.9 FM, the WMCX, West Long Branch, New Jersey for BCP Plus's Downbeat Beatdown Hour. And we are not worthy. We are here with the current reigning and defending ISPW Women's Champion, multiple times ranked in the top 250 pro wrestling women wrestlers in the world, Vicious Vicki Venuto. Victoria, welcome.
Hello, thank you. I am Jersey's own, so I'm happy to be on the air right now.
Happy to be on the X, and thank you guys, like I always say, for the opportunity. Victoria, you've had a heck of a 2025. Obviously, I've been along for the ride here, and first and foremost, very proud of you. We'll get the mushy stuff out of the way here. But I do want to say 2025, and forgive me if I'm speaking out of turn here, whatever you're comfortable with sharing, started out kind of like a little bit of the same opponent, the same thing early on, and then you got this jetpack, you got these opportunities, you got this wave of momentum where you're kind of fighting the names, you're fighting for the big championships. Just talk about 2025 so much, what that year's been like, and just how much you've grown this year.
Yeah, throughout my whole career, it's been a struggle. I think any aspiring artist, athlete, what have you, is going to have some hurdles along the way to really get to that superstardom level. But 2025, started off a little redundant. I'm very grateful for any opportunities and being able to be on a small scale on the independents to showcase myself. But it is a lot of the same people in the same territory, essentially. Back in the day in wrestling, there was territories. And right now I feel like I'm in a Northeast territory. So after kind of, riding that wave of momentum, as you say, I've kind of started getting thrown in the mix with people who are, television contracted wrestlers and talent who can elevate me and help me get better. When you're kind of doing the same thing, expecting different results, nothing's going to change. So with me being in the ring with, the same people who are essentially on my level, neither one of us are really growing because we're not getting a chance to learn from the best and learn from the people who are actually on television and doing what we want to do. So for me, it was just a matter of being given those opportunities to actually show that I can hang with people that are on TV, and I should be on TV. I should.
Hey, gotta have the confidence. I love it. And to that point, what's the old cliche? It's you can't get better unless you're fighting people that are better than you.
100%.
In pro wrestling. And that's no disrespect to anyone you fought, people that you have close relationships with and come up with. And you can say the same thing for them. They need to fight, people who have been to the dance, proverbially.
Yes.
So let's talk about this one. We have, you've taken on the likes of Indi Hartwell, TNA's own former WWE NXT Women's Champion, a former Impact World Champion, Tessa Blanchard. I think she defeated Moose for that one, which is incredible. One of the best women's wrestlers on the planet. You took on Lady Frost. It's been a great past 6 months for you, but I'll ask you this one, going back to the Tessa thing. Now, Tessa, obviously a polarizing figure in pro wrestling. We'll leave it at that. In the past, I've had the opportunity to interview her, and I turned it down. But now, being more in the know, being more from my own people telling me interactions with her and promoters and everything, I heard she couldn't be more kind and nice. And just hearing different accounts of everything. And, social media, like I always say, is not a news source. And I'm certainly not in the know for everything, but just from all the facts I've been given, my tune has certainly changed. And you had the opportunity to work with her at the infamous 2300 Arena. And I said to you, that was going to be an emotional match, almost like a make or break. That's how I felt for you coming into that. Whatever you're comfortable with sharing on that match versus one of the best women's wrestler bell to bell in the world, Tessa Blanchard. What was that experience like for you? What were the emotions like after the match? Anything you're comfortable with sharing? Yeah,
I'm an open book. That. For me, it was a last minute thing. I was a fill-in. The match was supposed to be her versus somebody else, and they needed somebody to take the place of the other girl who had some sort of injury or whatnot. And I always had the mindset of, I'm not a fill-in. I am one. I'm the one you want to book. But in this particular situation, I know that I'm reliable and I'm counted upon, and I was called to be given this opportunity. So, I jumped on it right away. I had no issue saying yes and taking it. And one, I took the match because, again, we're trying to elevate myself, right? You're trying to get these marquee type matches and be thrown in the mix with people who are undoubtedly undeniable,
nice,
as in Tessa Blanchard, better than me. And I jumped on it, and working with her was one of the best experiences I've had. One, because she's so dang good, and she's so she really is ahead of her time. She is Tully Blanchard's daughter, so I would hope that she'd be one of the best wrestlers in the world next to Charlotte Flair. But, she took me under her wing, and she helped me. She elevated me. She taught me things. And I think, for me, being thrown in the mix with these people, it's almost like career changing in a way.
Wow.
And kind of being trusted to be given that opportunity with her. It was hard hitting. It was awesome from start to finish. It was one of my best matches of my career because I was in the ring with someone who is one of the best in the world, and it's just night and day. And when I came through the curtain, I literally just started bawling my eyes out crying because it made me realize, like, holy cow, like, I'm actually, like, good at this. Because I had a really, really good dance partner, and that's what we say in wrestling. It's like a dance, so you have to have a good dance partner. And I had one of the best in the world.
Yeah.
And it just made me prove to myself that, like, I can do this, and I should be in a bracket that I'm not in right now, and I'm trying to figure out how to get there.
Yeah, and I mean, let's be real. You've had a cup of coffee or two with TNA Wrestling, who I think, and there's been a strong case for this, of them becoming the number 2 pro wrestling promotion in the entire world. Just tell us about the experiences you've had with TNA. Obviously, you work with Tessa Blanchard, Indi Hartwell, but actually being in that TNA locker room, being alongside the likes of the Hardy Boys, who I know were big influences on your career, and then also just that locker room environment, and then even working with Mara Sade being a big part of her debut.
So for me, my goal as a young kid was always to be in the WWE, right? From a young kid, like you said, like the Hardys and everything, that was like my big dream, essentially. But not, I don't want to say, like, there's so many different minor companies out there that I could work for, but if it's not WWE, I would hope and pray that it would be TNA. Like you said, I've been there a couple times. I've been backstage. I've had opportunities to show who I am to that fan base, and being able to, like, go out there and do my thing and, like, be trusted to have those opportunities. It just makes you want more. It's like you're there, and it's like you're right there, and it's like dangling in front of your face, but, like, you're just not there fully yet. It's so frustrating, but it's a journey, and I've been doing this for 7 years, and being able to say that I've actually been on TV now is awesome.
And had a WWE tryout and all of that. I want to talk about the help, the guidance, the mentorship that you've had over the years, particularly with the Busted Open guys. LaGreca, shout him out, the GOAT. He's always been in your corner. Dreamer, I know you always have a great relationship with Tommy Dreamer, and I think Danny Doring had said it to me in a private conversation, or he had said, I don't know one person that Tommy Dreamer has interacted with and hasn't helped. I know Mark, you've met in passing a few times, and he's like, Vicious Vic, and he's like, I know who Vicious Vicky is. So shout out Mark Henry. And then even Bully Ray, has been helpful and imperative in your career. Anything you're comfortable with sharing on that, or your relationship with the Busted Open guys? Yeah,
meeting Dave LaGreca, shout out Tommy Fierro from ISPW. Meeting Dave was almost like, I don't want to say life changing, even though I love him to death, but he he has been such a key part in my career. You know, when I first met him, he had me on the show a few times, right? And just this little indie wrestler trying to make it, and he would put me on the show, and we talk about upcoming things, and we talk about, you know, my career, and I feel it's because he saw something in me and sees something in me, so he supports me. He's always been a dear good friend of ours, but you know, having him and having that platform too is amazing. Mark Henry's always the best. He's just the sweetest guy. Tommy Dreamer, I have thanked him multiple times just because he has taken time to whether sit down with me and talk about things or give me opportunities when they arise. You know, I know for him, he's probably swamped with people who are swarming him with, hey, book me, help me. But for him to see something in somebody, I trust it. You know, Tommy's opinion, I really trust. And it's because he, one, has an eye for talent, and two, he wants to give back as much as he can. And it's proof. You know, there's proof in the pudding that he really cares, you know, and I'm very thankful for him and a lot of the opportunities. And Bully Ray, we love Bully Ray. We love Bully Ray. Come on. Bully has been super awesome, man. Like he's a hardhead, but I respond well to that type of training, if you will. You know, he had helped me with an idea that I had last December when I was really, really thinking about quitting wrestling and turning around and just being done with it and kind of sick of the fight, you know, but that's kind of who I am. I'm a fighter. So I stumbled across him, met him through La Greca, and kind of got some ideas that I piggybacked off him. And, you know, it made for a killer promo and an idea of me stepping away. And, you know, I couldn't do that again if I tried, you know, but he helped me navigate that. So, you know, a lot of those guys I can thank for many different things and reasons. So
it's funny because that idea may or may not have been replicated on national TV.
Sure was.
You know, who did it better, right?
Sure
who
was.
Who did it first? But I digress. But it really is hard to make waves and make an impact and make noise on the independent scene. You know, I always ask the question, I end every interview with the TV talent, you know, what advice would you have for the independent talent, because you don't have weekly TV. You're a heel here. You're a baby face here, right?
Yep.
So it's hard to make noise, and you got such a great reception from that. I have people coming up to me like, is Vicki okay? Like, what's going on? It's hard to make that noise. So shout out to, you know, you, first of all, and then the Busted Open crew for really just doing their part for the independents, and obviously you. I do want to talk about this. It's kind of funny, but the Jey Uso thing, right?
Oh, God.
So you've done your fair share of extra work the past 2 years, I'd say, plus. And you've had your fair share of catering, as always, but a couple TV spots, and there was one spot where Jey was injured after a match or something, you know, storyline, and he's backstage, and I love when this stuff happens, and you hand, you know, arguably one of the most popular pro wrestlers on the planet, main event Jey Uso, you walk in the shot, you hand him an ice pack, and you're out of the shot. I don't think I could have counted to two. And you hand him the ice pack, and I look at it, I'm like, I think that was my girlfriend, Victoria. I rewind it. At that same time, my phone is blowing up. I saw Vicki. Was that Vicki? This and that. Then the next day, the dirt sheets and news sites are reporting identity of the nurse who handed Jey Uso the ice pack on like
unreal.
Slow news day.
It doesn't. Slow news day.
But what was that like for you? Because, I mean, great exposure. You know, it's funny. You've been grinding up and down the road, traveling, putting your body on line. You hand this man an ice pack, and I think it was one of the most pivotal moments in your career. Just tell us about that a little bit.
It's so funny because it's these little things that literally make no sense. Like, how could something like that blow up as much as it did? So I'm sitting there like, okay, I'm given this opportunity, right? You know, you're when you're doing extra work, you're kind of essentially, for those who don't know, it's basically like if you're an actress or an actor, and you know, there's people in the background that they pay to just be on guard, essentially. So with wrestling, they do that too. You know, they kind of have people who are thrown into it, like just in case. So 9 out of 10 times when you're an extra as a female, you really don't get used, which is like the running joke for us. But I'm just happy to be there regardless, but we really don't get used. So, you know, I'm kind of standing around Gorilla, which is like right where like the entrance is, because that's where they told us to be, like where the wrestlers go out. And they're like, hey, like, you want to be a medic? I'm like, yes. Like, I was like, I actually was a real medic in life. But
Vicky's time to shine.
yeah, but yeah, I was like so nervous too. And I'm like, why? We're about to like, because it was live on TV. It wasn't
and
like
last minute.
It was last minute. I remember I texted you and I'm like, hey, nothing for me at like 7:58 before the show went on. At like 8:02, I texted him and was like, I'm a medic. He's like, what? And I'm like, I don't know when I'm going to be on, but and literally my spot was like 0.5 seconds. Like I'm in the frame handing a bag of ice and then I'm out of the shot. And then like all the 7 years of grinding and hard work, and then my name and likeness blows up all over the wrestling news sites. Oh, this is Vicki Venuto. She's the nurse that handed Jey Uso the bag of ice, and it just like exploded. And I'm like, 7 years of hard work, and this is what you're reporting? Are you kidding me? But I'm like, all right, it's press. I'll take it.
And the response the next day was just incredible. It was all online and the dirt sheets and
insane, literally insane. Like I didn't expect me handing Jey Uso a bag of ice was going to explode like it did.
It's great. It speaks volumes. So I don't want to be cliche in saying this, but because you have tasted some of these, or you know, been in the ring with the Tessa Blanchards of the world, the Indi Hartwells of the world, Lady Frost, who on that, I'll use the word echelon, would you, and I know there's one you've been eyeing for a while, I'm not trying to lead you here, but
okay.
Leading question, but who do you have your eye on here? Not in the independents, but on the independents of that upper echelon of opponents, because we've seen some of the AEW talent come through, some of the ROH talent. I know there's been some online, you know, kind of support for you taking on a certain someone who's very virtuous. So anyone you want to?
Yeah, look, I respond well to good wrestling, and another one of the best women's wrestlers in the world is New Jersey's own Deonna Purrazzo. And I have been putting that out in the world for years now of who I want to wrestle. You know, she's very technically savvy. I am not. But I can learn from her. I know I can. And I know that having two of Jersey's best, and yes, I'm going to say that I'm one of Jersey's best because I am. And I think having the two of us together is marquee style. Like, you got to have Jersey versus Jersey. You got to have technical versus brawler. Like, you got to do it. And someone will do it one day.
I hope so. Yeah, if you guys are listening, please, you know, I think fans are clamoring for it. And I think there's some money to be made in that. You know, who knows? What do I know? But I think that would be a fantastic,
I agree.
I think that would be a fantastic match. I'm obviously very biased in this.
One day my dreams will come true.
So, R-Truth, name drop, R-Truth said something to me
Nice.
that immediately made me think of you. He said, you know, I asked the advice questions like I always end my interviews with, and he said, you know, in this business you're playing a persona, you're playing a character, but you need to find out who you are. And that immediately made me think of you, because I've seen you swing for the fences. I've seen you try things. I've seen you reinvent yourself, which I know, even if they don't say it, and some of them have said it to me and to you, your peers respect. Your coworkers respect the fact that you have tried to pivot and reinvent yourself. And they're not always home runs. What I've seen in the time that I've been a fan of yours, or your friend, or now your boyfriend, like the Jersey girl, heel. You're very good at being a heel and a face. You know, the fans cheer you when you are a heel. From the Jersey girl to that more Kane, dark side, I think Devil's Daughter, which was one of my favorites. I know a lot of the fans enjoy that. Well, a little bit more of a power move set, a darker entrance, a new theme song, to now having the theme song by Downstate, to becoming this fully fledged, almost mix of everything, upper echelon indie talent. Have you discovered who Vicious Vicki Venuto is right now in 2025?
I think so, and thanks for saying all that. I think, like, in wrestling, if you get stale and stagnant if you don't change things. If things aren't working, to me, like, I have to change something. If I'm not getting noticed, or if I'm not getting opportunities, or if I'm not signed even, like, I always feel like I have to change something. And I think for me now, being in the stage that I'm in and being the amount of years in that I'm in, I finally feel like I found it. Like, going from, like you said, the Jersey girl with the cheetah print and the Jersey Shore boardwalk type vibes, people connected to it. People, loved to hate me, and it was perfect. I was always the bad guy. And then the last 3 years of my career, people really just started to connect with me. And then when I felt like, I want to try something different. I want to wear different gear. I want to do just something different. And I kind of went to, like you said, that dark Kane-esque, Undertaker-esque, demon gimmick. It was awesome and fun and different. And I barely spoke, and I was just this powerhouse. But now I'm in that, essentially, I feel like a final form of, like, hey, the gimmick is me, and the character is me. I pulled from my real life to be this unstoppable, unforgettable character. I feel like Vicious Vicki is a unforgettable character, and it's like, I don't do anything flashy, but I'm a connector. And I feel like watching TV and watching these people on television, you want to feel something, you want to connect to something, you want to believe in something. And whether you believe that you want to chew them out, or you believe that you want to root them on, like, I make people feel something. And I feel like, for some reason, like, I don't know why that's not connecting to the people that need to put pen to paper, but it does on the independent level. So, I mean, me, my career. It's one of those things that's like, I don't get it anymore. Like, what more do you need from a character?
It's hard to check all those boxes, and you're definitely, do you right now feel the momentum? Just yes or no? Or are you feeling that you're growing? And
I feel that I've grown tremendously in a very short amount of time. Like, I've been doing this 7 years, but in the last, like you said, about 6 months, I feel like I've grown tremendously. But you want more. It's like, you get those opportunities. You're on the road. Being backstage, TNA, WWE, and, like, being thrown into these opportunities, I'm showing, hey, I can do this. But then when you get stagnant, like, I've kind of had a little bit of a dry month, like, I want more, and it's like, how do you get more? It's like, you're already known, you're already in the mix with the pros, you're already doing all of everything you need to do, but it's still not happening. And that's what I think drives me crazy, on a day-to-day basis, because you love it so much. And you just want more.
And what I always think about, and rest in peace, good brother Vac up there, but he always says, and I always tease him for saying this, but he's like, you can't, and this was in regards to fantasy football, but in life, I really take this with me, as funny as that is, you can't rest on your laurels. I remember when we had interviewed Johnny Gargano, and I was hanging my hat on that, and, we talked to a WWE guy and one of our top 10 guys, and I'm just coming off SummerSlam now, and I'm like, I need to keep, you got to stay hot. You got to stay hot, and you can't rest on your laurels. And what are we doing next? Well, we're here on the X, 88.9 FM, Monmouth University, WMCX, West Long Branch, New Jersey, of course. But we're grateful for this opportunity. We have to grow. We have to go outside the box and get other opportunities. And you hit on something as well, Victoria. You talked about the fans and how they react to you and the different incarnations of you. And we kind of joked about it earlier, but when you are a heel, the fans still kind of, they love
goodness.
you. They cheer you, which I think is a good problem to have. But what is it about you that you think instantly, because that is those intangibles that you cannot teach. Either you have it or you don't. And I see it with the kids all the time, whether you're just at your table or you're in the ring or you're walking down the ramp, even if you're a bad guy, they connect with you, the adults, the families. just all ages, they connect with you. And is it because you're very public about your struggles and the things you've overcome? Is it because you're Vicious Vicki is you? What is it about you that gives you that intangible, that it factor that the fans can instantly relate to? Because I've seen it a million times.
It's a great question, because I really feel like you kind of hit the nail on the head with that. Like, I'm an open book, right? So I try to use my platform for the greater good as much as I can. I'm a recovering addict of almost 11 years now. I am, a trauma survivor. I am all these things outside of wrestling. I'm not just a performer. I also try to let people know that I'm a human too. And I think people respond well to that, because I try to translate that character and that person in the ring as much as I can. And when I'm connecting with kids, I think for the kids specifically, I'm this really beautiful girl who's really like the bad chick. I'm awesome. I'm cool. I'm how I felt about Lita back in the day. She was this awesome chick doing these really cool things. She was beautiful, and she showed me that like I can be a chick and do these things. Same thing with like Rhea Ripley today. It's the same thing. There's a mystique about me that people want to know more. They want to follow, but they like it. I've always said that I was like a female Stone Cold. Not as great, of course, but in the sense of like, I beat to my own drum, I do my own thing, but people love me. Joking aside, this is all joking aside, but like when I was a bad guy, or if I have to be a bad guy on script, I could like spit in someone's face. I would never do that, but I'm saying hypothetically, and they'd be like, yeah, this is Vicki. And I'm just like, I don't know what to tell you. There's a company I work for that they are adamant of me being a heel, and I'm okay with it. I love being a bad guy. They're cheering for me. I don't know what to do. But I think
it's not the first time that's happened either.
It happens all the time. I mean, my whole career, I would say about the last 5 years, I've been mainly a babyface, a good guy, with the edge. Of course, I have an edge, but people really like me, and that's awesome. It's a good problem to have. But for me, like I said earlier, pro wrestling in my heart is connecting, and the connections. That's the true art of pro wrestling, and I feel like I have that. I have the huge component, and this is not a mock on anyone who's on television or has opportunities. There's a reason why those people do, but to kind of watch TV today and see these people that are pushed, who are uberly talented, but there's no connection. The fans aren't into it. And that's what we want. We put on the TV and we watch something, even bands, we have to be into it, and for me, the fans are into me. So I already have that huge component. So I just need to find out what's, I guess, missing, or what more I could do to be the full package. I think that I am, and I can prove that I am, but there's a reason why I'm not signed, and I need to figure out why.
Have you felt, we talk about the love from the fans, but the support from the people here that are kind of in your corner? Shout out Missy Sampson, Bell to Bell, Tommy Fierro, ISPW, who's always waved that vicious flag.
Oh, God, yeah.
The guys, and forgive me if I'm leaving anyone out just off the top of my head, and thank you everyone who's given either one of us an opportunity.
Yes.
But Vic and Hale, the Now, ACW, which is had 4 shows, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
It's run very TV. It's a huge production.
Incredible.
And, I'm very impressed with what they've done. Just talk about that support that you have for living your dream, and some of these opportunities that these promoters have given you, and even from your family.
Yeah, I mean, Tommy's had me under his wing from day one, so I there's a lot that I could be grateful for him, and he knows it. Vic and Hale have been amazing and really, really supportive of me, and I needed them. They kind of took me in at a time where I really needed them, and I really needed that platform. And to kind of have guys who have been doing this for 25 years, worked with Tommy Dreamer side by side, still do, and to put on this show that they're putting on is incredible. It is totally TV style through and through. I mean, from being backstage to being on the stage, it's TV, and it's, for me, it's great practice, but it's also, it's one of those things where I feel like having people believe in me and push me makes me also feel like, okay, like I can do this, and I'm believed in by people, and they're definitely the right people to have, for confidence and whatnot, and just kind of riding that wave there, and I'm enjoying every second of it. October 18th we have a show coming up, and I'm really excited for that one. So yeah, it's been a ride.
Last one, and thank you for sharing all that. And if you want to stick around and talk WWE a little bit,
I'm down.
We do the journalism thing, but I'll ask you this last one, and then thank you, Victoria, for doing this. You have some new listeners here on the radio on the X 88.9 FM. We have the fans of the Vicious One surely tuning in and watching, our corresponding socials and whatnot. What is something you want to say to the fans? Because we have a few months left in 2025. 2026 is around the corner. For anyone who might be listening to you for the first time, what do you have to say to the fans about Vicious Vicky for the rest of 2025?
So I said that 2025 was going to be my year. And I think that I've done quite a bit to show that and show who I really am and what I can do and what I bring to the table. I've shown versatility. I've shown, defying odds. I've shown, transformation in my physical appearance. I've shown transformation in my everything. And I've shown that I can hang with the best of the best. You get older, not younger, and I feel like there is nothing in my life that I've wanted more than this. I mean, I say this respectfully. I think my fans know who follow me. Like, I'm not one of those people who just kind of stumbled into this. I'm not, I've been watching wrestling since I was 4 years old, and which is a long time. And, I made it a dream. I made my dream a reality to do this, and I've done really cool things. But you can't do this forever, and you can't chasing when you get older gets a little scary, So for the fans who follow me and love me, thank you for being on the journey of Vicious Vicky, and the journey is not over yet, but it is it's a long road, but it's becoming tiring, because if you're there and you got the piece of meat dangling in front of your face, but you just can't have a bite, it's frustrating, because it's like, if I'm here for a reason. There's a reason why I'm backstage. There's a reason why I'm here. There's a reason why somebody sees something. But I think I can say, if I do not put pen to paper by the end of 2026, I think the boots might be left in the middle of the ring.
Oh.
I think so. There's other things that you got to do in life. When you're a woman, you get older. And I always put wrestling above everything. Family, funerals, birthdays, everything. And that's what they say you got to do. And this is just the truth, like, I've lost a lot for wrestling, financially, emotionally, physically, everything. And you get older, you get a little wiser, and I think something has to give. And if it doesn't, then you just got to make other plans. So we'll see.
I wasn't ready for all that at the end there. So, and thank you for sharing that. Thank you for opening up. Vicious One, and of course, we have to get the shameless promo. Tell everyone where they can follow you. I know we got some shows coming up with ISBW at the Wild West, Bell to Bell. Support local wrestling, support independent music, independent wrestling. But Vicious One, tell them where they can follow you on socials.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at the Bad Chick Vic. I am Vicious Vicky, and then also on Twitter, X, whatever, Vicious Vicky with some underscores in there. You can't miss me. I'm the wrestler.
Thank you, Victoria, for doing this. The BCP is brought to you by our favorite store, Funkenstein Wrestling Superstore, located in the Englishtown Flea Market in New Jersey from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Saturdays and Sundays, and online at FunkensteinWrestlingSuperstore.com. Get your favorite wrestling merch, retro video games, Ninja Turtles, Ghostbusters, G.I. Joe, so much more. It's our favorite store. Thank you, Heather and Dan, for sponsoring the BCP. Also got to welcome back our sponsors, the No Gimmicks Podcast, the podcast that keeps it 100% real 100% of the time. Check out our guy Kelvin, only on the No Gimmicks Podcast. Wrestling All Day, All Night is the best wrestling discussion group on Facebook. We provide more of a community feel here, and have wrestling fans introduce other fans to something they may not have seen before, such as old school wrestling, indie wrestling, Japanese wrestling, and so much more. We also strive to be a source of information regarding upcoming wrestler meet and greets and signings. And remember, we're open 24/7, all day, all night. Be sure to follow on socials and join the group on Facebook at Wrestling All Day, All Night. Welcome back our sponsor, Sweet Chin Musings. Sweet Chin Musings is the creation of the reigning, rarely defending, highly disputed champion of wrestling podcast, Mr. Perfect, Mike Mueller, and his tag team partner in crime, Luke Kudialis. SCM focuses on the in-ring product of WWE and AEW, no dirt sheet rumors here, as well as backstage news, predictions, and analysis of characters, storylines, and major pay-per-views. Old school fans, don't worry, we have you covered as well, with a look back on classic matches, top 10 lists, and interactive tournaments that let the fans decide who is truly the best of all time. You can find them at Facebook at Sweet Chin Musings, and check out the podcast on all major podcast platforms. Please welcome back our sponsors on the BCP Plus and the podcast, GPW Productions. GPW provides your promotion or event with top-tier video, audio production, live streaming, and more. I can personally vouch for them in saying they are hands down the best production company I've ever worked with, as they have and continue to work with the likes of AEW, GCW, StarCast, MLW, not to mention the majority of the local independent promotions here in the tri-state area. They can even help you film a vignette or promo for your persona or gimmick. And guess what? GPW doesn't just work in wrestling. No, they cover MMA, boxing, basketball, or any other sporting event as well. On a personal note, I'd like to thank Mike Sesko, Frank León, Oneil Andrews, and the team for giving me multiple opportunities to work with them and some of the best talent in the world. Thank you, GPW, and guys, book GPW for your promotion or event today at contact@gpwproductions.com. Please welcome back one of our favorite sponsors, Mania Club. Established in 2015, Mania Club is a WWE-recognized community for fans with an eclectic love for both the world of professional wrestling and raising money for Connor's Cure. During WrestleMania weekend, we host the official tailgate of WrestleMania while also celebrating the life of Conor McCallum. They are the single largest donor within the V Foundation for Connor's Cure, with over 150,000 raised. Please donate and join the Facebook group over at Mania Club on Facebook. Donate at jimmyv.org/Mania Club. Guys, please welcome in our new pod sponsor for the months of May and June, J. Adam Photography. Jay provides quality, artistic, innovative photography with a quick turnaround time. Be sure to check out his latest ISPW wrestling pics and much more stellar content. Right now, wrestlers can do a special portrait shoot with Jay in Sparta, New Jersey for just $50. Contact Jay at Jay Vogel on Facebook, and be sure to follow him across socials. Thank you, Jay, for sponsoring the BCP. Guys, let's welcome in our new pod sponsor, Cooper Groove Grips. When you play Cooper Groove drumsticks, you get increased sensory feedback from your hands, so your grip will naturally loosen, but you have complete control. With that taking place, you don't have fatigue and soreness, which can lead to long-term issues. Guys, as a drummer, Cooper Groove is my drumstick of choice. Sweaty hands aren't a problem. Grip is good. Don't forget to check out their amazing Cooper Groove bats coming out soon. Guys, follow at Cooper Groove Grips on Facebook. Guys, please welcome in our new podcast sponsors, ISPW Weekly, where we dive deep into the world of ISPW, the crossroads of professional wrestling. Join Jumpin' Jay and Total with Tom every week as they interview the stars of the ring, uncover their stories, rivalries, and the electrifying action that defines ISPW. Be sure to check out ISPW Weekly on the ISPW Facebook page every week. Are you looking to press play on Feeling Good Again? Well, Twisted Shamrock Studios and Spa, our premier sponsor here on BCP Plus, Delaware County's Retro Recovery Rebels. They're here to rewind time and reboot the way you heal. From therapeutic massage and assisted stretch therapy to glow-up facials and energy work, this is where function meets feel good. Perfect for athletes, overachievers, and everyday Joes and Janes who need real relief with a vintage twist. Not to mention pro wrestlers. Reboot your body, recharge your soul, rock the retro vibe. Call or text 484-574-8868 or visit twistedshamrockstudiospa.com. Guys, please welcome back our returning podcast sponsor, USDN. USDN podcast is run by USDN Chairman and the Council of Nerds. We bring you all the latest news and rumors from the world of nerds and consolidate it right here at the U.S. Department of Nerds. USDN is for the people, by the people, and of the people. Follow them at facebook.com/US Department of Nerds. Guys, please welcome in our new pod sponsor for 2025, the Ropes and Riffs podcast, featuring Maestro John Kiernan speaking with the stars of professional wrestling about their in-ring, tunage, gear, and so much more. Check out John's interviews with the likes of Lince Dorado, Mercedes Martinez, and so much more. Find the Ropes and Riffs podcast on all major podcast platforms. Guys, please welcome back our returning sponsor from the left side. Get hit from the left side with all the wrestling and sports news you can handle. Thank you from the left side for sponsoring the BCP. Please welcome back our returning sponsor, Independent Superstars of Pro Wrestling ISPW, ahead of their Wild West Wrestling Showdown. That's going to be Friday, September 19th at Wild West City in Byram Township, New Jersey, starting at 7:30 p.m. It's going to be Leo Sparrow challenging Justin Carino for the ISPW Heavyweight Championship. Evil Chica teams with Vicious Vicki Venuto against Tina San Antonio, Ava Everett. Many more matches. Get your tickets now at ispwwrestling.com. Please welcome back our returning sponsor, Warriors of Wrestling, ahead of their acclaimed King of New York tournament Saturday, September 6th at Fun Station in Staten Island, New York. Get your tickets now at warriorsofwrestling.com. Don't forget to get your tickets to Bree Combination Wrestling, the Grand Rumble, a tribute to Mama Pan. That's going to be Sunday, September 21st at the Mecca, 106 Bergen Ave, Ridgefield Park, New Jersey, for the Grand Rumble. Don't forget the BCW World Heavyweight Champion, the Allfather, Darius Carter, defends against Kelsey Reagan. Get your tickets now, and don't forget it'll be streaming on Title Match Network. Please welcome back returning BCP sponsor, Bell to Bell, ahead of Saved by the Bell, September 20th, 2025 at 3 p.m. at the world-famous Monster Factory. Check out matches like Vicki Venuto taking on Gabby Ortiz, Haas House versus Leah Knight and Taylor One Shot. Don't forget, you'll see former WWE superstar Tegan Knox, Lena Cross, and many more. Get your tickets now at belltobell.com. Guys, please welcome back a returning sponsor, EM Collectibles. That's right, they feature live signings, collectibles, toys, and more. Be sure to follow them on their Facebook page and stay tuned for upcoming events. Those upcoming events include September 6th, Veteran Pro Wrestling presents September to Remember, special appearance by American Gladiator, Malibu, and Glow Star Tiffany Milan. September 27th, 90s Wrestling Con with Scotty Riggs. October 25th, Glory Days Grapple Con 3 with Brutus Beefcake, Harvey Whippleman, Bill Alfonso, and one more possible name. May 2nd, 2026, New England Fan Fest with Adam Ball, Heavy Whippleman, The Headbangers, and Power of Pain. Please welcome our newest podcast sponsor. It's the SDN Podcast for in-depth WWE predictions, pay-per-view reviews, and insightful interviews with wrestling personalities. I highly recommend the SDN Podcast. They cover all the big events and give you expert analysis every single week. Be sure to subscribe and stay updated on everything pro wrestling. Thank you, SDN Podcast, for sponsoring the BCP.